Well, good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Karen Goldner with the Women's Business Development Center in Chicago. Welcome to our Exploring Business Ownership Through Franchising webinar. I'm really excited that with me, as they say in the studio today, is John McClellan, who's one of the managing directors at Fran Net. And I'm going to just turn it over to John, and welcome to WBDC, and let's get started.
All right, thank you, Karen. Nice to be here. And welcome, everybody. I'm going to just spend a few minutes telling you a little bit about myself and Fran Net, and then we can get into talking about the different opportunities out there as it relates to business ownership. As I mentioned, oh, there we go. Okay, bear with us. There we go. I have been in franchising for probably longer than I want to admit to. Got out of college and went to work for an ad agency that had a hamburger account. It was McDonald's, and I've been in franchising ever since. Fran Net is the largest franchise consulting firm in North America. We're all through the United States and in Canada. And we're partners with the SBA and SBDC and SCORE and all those folks. What we really do is we don't sell franchises. We work with people like yourself that are exploring franchising and looking at how it might change their life and help them, if this is a path they want to go down, help them make the right decision. We work with, as I mentioned, the SBDC and SCORE, and there is no cost to use us. Our goal is to help you analyze the market, look at your goals, your strengths, and your lifestyle wants and goals, and if franchising is something you want to do, help you make the right decision. What we're going to talk about today is basically business ownership, and there's three options. Talk about just briefly small business in the franchise industry, and if it is something you want to go down the path of, how do you? There's 3,000 different franchises out there, so how do you make the right decision for you? Because it's not for everybody, and it's all about managing the risk and making sure that it's the right fit for you. So why would you want to own your own business? And it sounds, if you're watching this right now and listening to this, you probably have made up your mind that this is something you want to explore. So imagine that you're the successful business owner, and how would your life be better? Well, it's probably going to be one of these building blocks, if you will, and it's different for everybody. I will tell you that most of the folks that I work with, the financial piece is very important, but right next to that is the control of their life. The environment has changed quite a bit over the last 30, 40 years in business, so loyalty isn't what it used to be, and mergers, acquisitions, all that good stuff. So control of the life seems to be, very important in terms of what people are looking for. Most people do work for someone else, and actually the University of Indiana University did a study and asked, how many people like to own their own business, and over 95% said they did, but only less than 1% do. So why is that? Well, it's the risk. People think that a job is going to be safer. Well, we think that, that has certainly proven not to be the case. Money, it is going to cost you money to start a business. Knowledge or skills. I don't know really where to start, and I don't have the business acumen. Well, we'll talk about that, because franchisors are not looking for people that necessarily have run a business in that category. They're looking for people who can follow the system. I mentioned risk. In the short term, getting a job is safe, but in the long term, as you can see, the risk increases. Whereas doing something entrepreneurial, yes, the risk is a little higher initially, but over time, that risk diminishes as you have more control over the business. Whoops, yeah, gotta keep it in there, yeah. So what about risk? Lost equity. What can you count on today? In terms of retirement, with all what's going on in the industry transformation, the restructuring, and all that good stuff. People ask me, say, is this a good time to start a business given what's going on with the economy? Well, what we're seeing is that really lots of different businesses grow in terms of all different economic conditions, whether it be senior care. Obviously, demographics are point a lot in that arena. residential repairs, cleaning, hair care, automotive. People keeping their cars 10, 11 years. Hair care is as big as fast food. It's a $56 billion industry. So lots of different businesses out there that thrive in different economic conditions. People still need education for their kids and, all these good things. So lots of different opportunities out there. It's just all about finding the right fit, something that fits your lifestyle and your financial goals. Small business, well, and I'm sure that, the SBDC folks are well aware of this, that, small businesses are still driving the economy here. And there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door, and he talks about the fact that 5 out of 6 millionaires in the United States today are not just millionaires, people that are doing very well financially, own their own business. So what are the business ownership options? Well, you can start a business from scratch, you can build an existing business, or you can start a franchise. And they all have their advantages and challenges. So let's take a quick look at each one. Starting a business up, from the get-go, you're the boss. You have all the control, all the profits, biggest upside. As my dad would say, you're the president, but you're the chief bottle washer as well. The challenges become you are the Lone Ranger, so to speak. You've got to create all the systems. When you go to the bank, it's a little more challenging to get a loan as opposed to if you have a national organization behind you. And it might it might take you a number of years before you start to make money. And unfortunately, they do have the highest failure rate. It's not because the people aren't smart or passionate. They are, but it's just difficult to create your own business from scratch. You're the the real estate person, the IT person, the marketing person, all of those things. So it's not to say you can't be successful. You can, but it's just it's challenging. You can buy an existing business, and there are certainly some advantages. There's cash flow. There's there's employees in place, systems. Maybe the owner will finance it. Here again, though, it's like buying anything. You've got to understand what's the motivation for this person selling. The International Franchise Association did a study, and a franchise sells you an agreement. It's a license agreement for 10 years, and it's renewable after 10 years. You only pay the franchise fee once, and then it's renewable after 10 years at a minimal fee. And they went out and they asked people whose 10 years were up, are you going to renew? And 90% of the people said they were going to renew. So it's a testament to franchising. But it also tells you that there's not a lot of people out there that are selling their franchise. If they are, or any business, it's typically, you've got to be very careful at what's the motivation. Is it a bad location? Have they have employee problems? This, that, and the other. Now with a franchise, if you get a good one, a solid one that, it's proven, they've made mistakes, but they've, over time, they've figured out, best practices. It's attractive. If you're going to go to a bank and you're, it's a Meineke or a Great Clips or whatever, you've got a lot better chance of getting a loan as opposed to, John's hair cutter. And it has, brand name recognition and from a resale standpoint. That's the challenges are, there's 3,000 different franchises out there. So which one makes sense for you? You are going to pay a franchise fee, and that's a one-time fee. And you are going to pay royalties. You're going to pay anywhere from 6 to 9% a month in your gross sales. And you're going to have to report and, you're going to have to be part of the system. Now, I tell my clients, realize that the good franchises are looking at you as much as you're looking at them, because they want to put the right person in the seat in the bus. Because if they put a wrong person in the wrong territory and with the wrong skill sets and this, that, and the other, they lose money. And so, as I mentioned, the only way they make money is if you make money. They want to put someone who's going to do very well in sales because they want to make their 6% on royalty. If they put someone in there and they're failing, they don't make any money. And for those royalties, and I'll talk about what you're getting, for paying that royalty. So real quickly, a franchise is basically a distribution system, channel. You have the headquarters, you have franchise operators, and then you have customers. Now every franchise is required to, well, I'll get to that in a second. So basically a franchise is a license to use the trademarks, the names, the products, the business systems. You're getting, you're basically getting a business in a box. They're basically telling you how to run a business from start to finish. And they're going to give you the support structure to do that. In exchange for that, you will pay a one-time franchise fee, and as I mentioned, you'll pay royalties on an ongoing basis. Now, every franchise, and this is to your benefit, is required to, with the state of Illinois, file what they call a franchise disclosure document. And in that is everything you want to know about a franchise, that particular franchise. How much time they've been in business, any bankruptcies, litigations, all your costs, royalties, so it's everything you want to know about the business. And they're contractually, they have to file this with the state of Illinois, and the state of Illinois has to approve it. Now, also in that FDD tells you about your territory, because certain franchises define their territory differently. Some will be, geographic within a particular area. Some might be, if it's a service franchise, let's say it's a maid service, they might sell you a territory based on the number of homes, 35,000 homes or 50,000 homes. Whereas other franchises, if they're what I call brick and mortar, would be more of, here's a location on X street. You'll get a listing in the FDD of all current and past franchises. Now, you also see in the franchise, they'll pick what they call earnings claims. Everybody wants to know, how much money are you going to make when I buy a business? Understandable. But franchises are, franchisors are restricted by the federal government with their earnings claims. They have to be very careful, and it's to your benefit because they don't want anybody making false earnings claims, telling you, oh yeah, don't worry, you'll make hundreds of thousands of dollars. So typically what they'll do is they'll put in there, here's our top third, middle third, and bottom third. Now when I work with my clients, we go deeper, and I have you talk to actual franchisees, and they can tell you exactly how much money they're making, what kind of support they get, any issues that you might have. Oop, there we go. And this goes back to looking at current and past franchisees will let you know the success or failure rate, and that's not necessarily what you're going to get when you talk to an independent business owner. Now, there's some myths out there I like to talk about, and the first one being, and understandably, when people think of fast food or franchising, they think of fast food because that's what they see driving up and down the street all the time. However, there are a lot of different categories in which franchises operate, probably 80 to 90 different industries. And while there's over 3,000 different franchise companies, it's really no 80 to 90 industries or categories. And there's just a few on the right here that you can see that are, different categories that they operate in. People think that I have to have a quality product to succeed. And I certainly wouldn't want anybody to get into a franchise that didn't have a quality product, but I think we can all agree that McDonald's is not the best hamburger in the world, and yet they still do, pretty darn well. And why is that? Well, they have, they have great systems, marketing, sales, operation, accounting, and that sort of thing. And I tell my clients, realize that, yes, it's nice to have the Lexus or the Cadillac dealership, but the Buick and Ford and Chevrolet dealers are all doing very well as well. I don't want any new competitor. I get nervous because there's a lot of competitors. Well, you certainly do need to be cognizant of, competition and that sort of thing. But, even McDonald's, when they started, there was a hamburger on every corner. So, don't be nervous about competition. You've got to be smart about it. But if there's no competition, probably not a whole lot of business out there. Realize that 99% of the people that looked at Jimmy John's walked away. And why did they walk away? Well, they said, there's a Subway in every corner. Why would I do this? Well, Jimmy John's had a different way to go to market, different products. So you need to, look at competition, but don't be scared of it. Franchises are expensive. Yes, they can be expensive, no question about it. However, as you can see by this chart, there's a lot of different franchises out there, and there's a number of them that are in, what I would call a manageable investment range, if you will. Where you can still make a six-figure income and not have to make a huge, financial commitment. Excuse me. So how do I pay for a franchise? Well, if you have personal savings, if you've won the lottery, that certainly helps. Home equity, not what it used to be, but still people are using that. SBA loans are available. An SBA loan will cover 70% of the cost of the franchise. And 401k or IRA. And there is some literature that you can download to this webinar, which I suggest that you do now. I think it will be available, right, Karen? And well, she'll talk to you about 401k and IRA rollovers, how that it can be done, has to be done professionally, but you can roll it over without paying an early withdrawal fee, and there are companies that do it for you professionally, and I would say about 75% of my clients use that to start their business. So you can download that as well as some other information. I recommend that you do that, during the course of this this webinar. I have to spend a lot of money to make a lot of money. No, not the case. And why is that? Because there's no correlation between the cost of a franchise and the potential return. I've helped a lot of people get into a business a lot less expensive than a McDonald's or some of those folks, and they've made financially done just as well. Service businesses require far less capital investment and frequently yield higher returns. So what am I talking about with a service business? Well, it could be a Molly Maid, as a for instance, a cleaning service. It could be in the education area. There's service business. There's a lot of home service and financial services, and a number of service business, less capital intensive because you don't have the brick and mortar, the inventory, the signage, the equipment, but yet you can see higher returns. And so when I work with my clients, we explore those. I have to have industry experience. Not the case. Franchisors want a person that can follow the system, and as you can see in this slide here, they want people that have, people skills, if you will. As you can see by this slide, there's, it's a huge industry. It grows, continues to grow every day, and there's a lot of different opportunities, lots of different categories. And you probably, if you're looking at this, you have in your mind saying, well, John, what's the best franchise to buy? What's it cost, and how much money am I going to make? Three good questions. I always tell my clients, you should also ask, what kind of lifestyle do I want? I worked on the McDonald's business. We would say, our careers are in the hands of a 16-year-old. So what I work with my clients is to help them identify what is it that they're looking for in their life, lifestyle goals and financial goals, because it's different for everybody. I could have 5 people in the room, and everybody's in a different place in their life and have different goals. So what we do at Fran Net is we try to help people build that business model, understand what is it they're looking for, and then match them up. We're like matchmakers, help them match the franchise that makes them, or helps them, fit their business goals and lifestyle goals. Franchises aren't all the same. There's, different ones that some are older, some want to wallpaper the earth, with franchises, slower growth. So as I mentioned, there's no correlation between, a particular cost and the return. But this is why franchising works, because you're getting the experience of the franchisor. Simple, most franchises look at simple businesses and put marketing and systems to it. I mentioned to Karen a little earlier, look at hair cutting. When I was a kid, my dad would I'd go get a haircut for 75 cents. Somebody came along and said, let's put marketing and systems to that, and now you have Supercuts and Great Clips and all those folks out there. Simple business, sophisticated systems. Molly Maid, simple business. Anybody can go out and start a maid service, right? Molly Maid got the Bill Gates Award for scheduling software. The average Molly Maid owner, does close to $1 million a year in sales. So simple businesses where they put sophisticated marketing and systems to it. Basically, we'd say with a franchise, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. If franchising is a path that you decide to go down, it's really important that you find that it's the right fit. As I mentioned, there's different opportunities and lots of different categories. I had a good example is I had a fellow call me the other day. He said, John, I know you have a system to help people reduce the risk and make sure it's the right fit, but I'm going to save you a lot of time. I'd love to play golf. I want a golf franchise. And once I understood it better in terms of what his goals were, I let him know. I said, Jim, golf franchises don't do very well. They have a high closure rate. I could help you. It's very easy to find one, but you'll hate golf in 6 months. So what you want is a franchise that lets you play golf. That's what you want. You don't want to, so you have to look at what your passion is. And I help people, if they have a background in certain particular areas of this, that, and the other, we certainly look at that. But you got to be careful not to misplace your passion, if you will. So how do you find out a business that's a great fit for you? Well, separate the function of the business, from the function of the owner. Sometimes they're similar, sometimes they're different. You know, the cleaning authority or Molly Maid owner, he's not cleaning homes. You know, he's managing the business. You know, what are your lifestyle goals and financial goals? You know, you want to identify those. Everybody's different. Do you want your children to be involved in this? Do you have a partner that you want to be involved in this? You know, what do you want from the business? It's typically going to be, you know, one or all of these things in terms of what you're looking for, you know, from the business, whether it be financial security or more time or control of your life. And then what are your business skills? What are you currently doing that could be transferred into if you own your own business? You know, and I will guarantee you that, you know, you will have skills that are transferable to owning your own business. And those skills that you don't have, the franchisor will help fill in terms of, you know, giving you that support, whether it be in accounting or IT or whatever it might be. So it's all about, as I mentioned, building your business model, starting off and understanding, okay, what is it that I'm looking for? And sometimes you don't know what you don't know, but you know, it's identifying, you know, do I want employees? What kind of budget? What kind of income do I want to make? What kind of money do I want to invest? Do I want a small business? Do I want a brick and mortar? Do I want to operate out of a house or of a small area? Do I want you know, employees that are full-time? Do I even want employees? You know, what kind of customers do I want? Repeat customers? So, you know, when I work with my clients, I help them develop this business model, and so that we get a sense of, okay, what is it that you're looking for in a business? Because, you know, it will vary from everybody. And then once you have that, then you're armed with, and I'm armed with helping you find the right fit. So I have what I call a personal franchise assessment, a PFA. And if someone's looking to start a franchise or purchase a franchise, as I mentioned, they need to understand, you know, what is it, you know, what kind of money do they have, what kind of they want to invest. So this personal franchise assessment helps them build that business model. It helps me work with them. And it takes you about 20 minutes to fill out. I send you a link to it, and then I send it back to you. And it's about 10 pages, 10, 12 pages long. It's called the PFA. And it goes understand, and I take you through it. It's all about building that business model so that you can understand, you know, is franchising right for you? And if it is, what are the, you know, where are the certain categories that we want to, you know, focus on? So I help you build that business model and get an idea of the criteria of your ideal business. You know, what is it that, because as I mentioned, there's 3,000 different franchises out there. Where do you start? And I should back up a little bit. In that Fran Net, what we do is, because we're the largest in North America, franchisors come to us and ask us to represent them, to people like at SCORE or the SBDC or any outplacement firms that I work with. And so we vet them. We look at their financials, we look at their management, we look at the category, and frankly, we turn away quite a few. But we do a lot of the homework that you'd be doing, so that when we represent someone, and we're going to just, you know, discuss some franchise with you, we want to make sure that they're, you know, a solid company. So once I'm armed with and we're in agreement on, okay, this is a business model that these are the things that I'm looking for, the criteria in a business, then I go out and do the research. Fran Net, we do the research for you, and come back to you with, okay, based on what you've told me, here are X number of opportunities that meet the criteria that you're looking for. And then what I do is I kind of step back and become a coaching role and help you work your way through these different opportunities. And you have a conversation with the franchise. And remember, I tell my clients, the good franchisors are looking at you as much as you're looking at them, because they want to make sure it's a good fit. They're not just interested in getting your franchise fee and putting you out there. They lose money with that. They want to make sure that that it's a right fit for you. And so you have a dialogue with the franchise company, and you'll talk to them, and you'll talk to existing franchisees. They will send you out the franchise disclosure document. And so it's a process designed to make sure that you've really covered all the bases. You've answered all the questions, dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, so to speak. You talk to franchise owners directly, so you'll be able to know what a day in the life is like, you know, what kind of challenges you have. And then, let's see, as I mentioned, my job is to help you decide if this is the right thing for you. and I'm in business, or I'm talking with you on a weekly basis, helping you really navigate through this to make sure that you're getting your questions and it's fitting the business model that you've established early on in the process. Does it fit the things that you're looking for in terms of financial and lifestyle goals? Is it acceptable risk, and are you going to enjoy it? Are you going to is this something that is going to satisfy you both in a emotional, financial, and lifestyle standpoint? I like to use this quote because I think it's really appropriate. That entrepreneurship is really it's tough. It's not for everybody. That first year is getting it up and going. The first year to 16, 18, 24 months. But after that, you'll be able to do some things that most people can't, assuming that you've really put the sweat equity into this. So that's a brief overview of business ownership. It's try to get through here because usually at 20-30 minutes people start to fade out a little bit. But hopefully it's given you it's just a snapshot of franchising, business ownership, what's out there. Lots of different opportunities, and it's all about finding the right fit, making sure that it fits your financial and lifestyle goals, and it's that you've done the homework, you've minimized the risk, and you feel comfortable with the decision. And that's what Fran Net, and that's what I'm all about doing, is helping you do that. So my contact information is there on the screen. If you have an interest in exploring or just want to have a conversation, the initial conversation to discuss what you've been thinking about, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you. There's my phone number. Shoot me an email, and we can set up a time to talk.
John, thank you very much. This is Karen again. I just want to, I guess, ask one question to have you reinforce what you had already said. There's no fee to the client.
Correct.
And there's not really any obligation or anything like that for them either.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Karen. Yeah, there's no fee to use me. You should know that how I get compensated, like an executive recruiter, that when and if you were to buy a franchise, that franchise would pay me a commission out of their marketing fund, and your cost of that franchise isn't impacted by using me. It'd be the same if you use me if you didn't. The reason I like to use Fran Net is that we're doing the work for them. We're sending them quality candidates like yourself out there, but there's no cost, and when you talk to these franchisors, there's no obligation. These are not high-pressure salespeople. They're senior management people who want to get to know you and make sure that it's the right fit, for them. Because as I mentioned, they want to make sure that they have the right person in Arlington Heights or Oak Park or wherever it might be, so that if you get with the right franchise, it should be a win-win situation, because that's the only way they make money is if you make money.
Well, John, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to continue to leave this up for a moment to let folks copy it down, and I think there probably will also be people who are watching this after it's no longer live, just on our archived webinars on the wbdc.org website. So here's your chance to just kind of jot this information down. You can always, if you're in the Chicagoland area, contact us. Our email address is, our website is www.wbdc.org, and you can just reach out to us through that process, and we can get you John's information as well. And if you have other questions about starting a business or wanting to grow a business, we are available for that. So with all that, we're going to end the webinar today. Thank you very much, John. Really appreciate your
Thank you, Karen. Appreciate it.
And thank you all for joining us.